Throughout the history of mankind, um, people have constantly been at war, both with other people and within themselves. And through the advancement of technology and science and spiritual evolution, mankind has come to a point now in his development where he no longer can put the blame on external factors for his lack of growth. The responsibility to grow is within his hands, and but for this evolution to be complete, for the wholeness to be finally realized, man has to do some inner reformation. He has to reform himself. And we see a lot of suffering going on in the world. We see a lot of worry, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of fear. I think all these are perfectly rationalized with a lot of the external environment and the situations we're going through. However, a lot of these problems actually can be best mitigated by going within the individual and understanding oneself at a much higher level. So what do I mean by this? Well, I'm going to be teaching about health and spirituality, which is the answer, in my opinion, of how to get mankind out of the mess he's in. There's been an excessive amount of sick people, fat people, people that are hurt, and there's always has been, but more so now in the 20th century with the advent of processed foods, pharmaceutical drugs. The wars have kicked up because of the profit interests, and we really have to learn to help mankind in a way that we're not doing so much, in a way that it's not being promoted as much. And like I said, too much emphasis has been put on trying to fix outer circumstances, pushing laws through, or making more money and all this. And while money does have its importance in the world, what's even more important is developing wholeness within the human individual. So how do we go about this? Like any great building that we're going to build, we start from the ground up. It's much like you start with the basement, first floor, second floor, then the roof. The foundation of man, the physical part of his body, is nutrition. A lot of people overlook that. You know, nutrition is often relegated to, more or less a preoccupation with people that are interested in big muscles or being, looking good in the mirror. It's basically an aesthetic thing, whereas it shouldn't be. Nutrition is actually the building block of maintenance in the body. Everything from the way we age, the way our brains work, the way we communicate with other people, the way, how long we go without aches and pains, and everything inside of us working right. Nutrition is the key, because through nutrition, all the building blocks and tools of our body, it's basically regulated, it's basically normalized, and everything works smoothly. Much like we wouldn't put Kool-Aid in a car because it's too boring to just put gas all the time. I mean, it's fuel, so the human body isn't going to be any different if you start putting junk in the body. You're not going to be able to function at your best. More often than not, we see examples in schools even of children who they've done tests and experiments on these kids. Problem schools where kids are fighting, not paying attention, failing, dropping out, just don't want to listen. Lots of problems. Well, what they did was they put a different food program in. They actually replaced the junk food with, plant-based, healthy foods, homemade cooked meals. They got the pop machines out and replaced them with water bottles. Now, after about, I don't know, a few weeks to a month, it was a tremendous transformation. The kids just wanted to study. They were kinder, they were nice, they were less aggressive. The dropouts went close to zero. And this is all an indication to all of us how important nutrition can play, not only in being healthy, but as far as our moods, being mood stabilizers, giving our bodies what we need. And when our body gets what we need, our minds get what we need, we act more normal. We don't act as excessive or aggressive or depressed. And these are all imbalances, which a lot of them can be attributed to lack of nutrition. Disease, the same thing. If the body isn't given what it needs, it starts to develop disease as a natural consequence. So we have to learn to start to implement nutrition into our bodies. The first thing has to go is the USDA pyramid, food pyramid. On the bottom, they show the most food, amount of food that we're supposed to eat in a given group, and they show grains as the bottom. And grains should be the least, because grains are actually have been shown to be the culprit for weight gain, for compromised cognitive ability over time. There's gluten in there, and these things affect the body. Phytic acid, which is an acid inside the body that stops the body from actually pulling the maximum nutrition out of the food you eat. There's anti-nutrients in there, as well as enzyme inhibitors, elements that actually block the enzymes in your body from working to its fullest when you're eating this stuff, which is bad because we need enzymes for everything from thinking, talking, and walking, and breathing, and sleeping. So this has been found to be mitigated if, in one term, we soak the nuts, seeds, or grains for at least 12 hours, and then we rinse it out, and then re-put the water in and leave it for another 12 hours, and then we basically strain it, mix it in with a salad, or whatever way you want to prepare it, cook it. But our emphasis should shift away from a grain-based diet and more towards a green-based diet. We need to be eating more leafy greens. Dark leafy greens are the most important food to eat. In fact, they should take up at least half of a normal person's diet, normal intake throughout the day. A lot of people don't like the taste of them, so they're not really popular. However, if you use the right combination of root vegetables that have natural occurring sugars like carrots, beetroot, in addition to, tomatoes. That will add enough flavor in there. You could put certain kinds of healthy dressings that aren't fat, calorie dense, like apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, and maybe a little bit of extra virgin organic olive oil. These will help you tremendously because the oil and the fat in the salad actually helps you digest the fat-soluble vitamin A and K in the greens. And greens are an extraordinary food. Out of all the foods they've actually studied, greens come closest nutritionally as one single food group to meet the most of man's dietary and nutritional needs. Out of all the food groups, the greens. So, it's very, very important if you want to start with health, to start eating greens, juicing greens, drinking greens, all that stuff. Get more greens in your diet. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, all that stuff, broccoli. The second thing, of course, we all should be getting exercise in a day because there's too much sitting around. A lot of people at work are, nailed to their cubicle, and, there's a lot of desk-bound jobs, and it's not good for us because it decreases the circulation, it doesn't strengthen our heart, and leads to problems later on if we don't get around and get some movement in our bodies. Human body was not designed to just sit all day. Although sitting and rest has its place, it has to be put and mixed into a balanced lifestyle. Any kind of exercise, at least for an hour every day, at least 5 to 6 days a week. I know it's not very feasible or practical to get that many days in if people are doing double shifts or two people are working 2 jobs apiece. I understand that. Do what you can and try and integrate that the best you can, because we all need to exercise. Exercise, believe it or not, is a medicine, because exercise prevents a lot of disease from taking hold of the body. It circulates nutrients, oxygen, and blood throughout the body, and it helps cognitive function so you can make smarter decisions, which will help everything in your life. The last part is basically spiritual training. We need to focus more on meditation. Everyone should meditate, beginning by getting up in the morning, doing a half hour on an empty stomach, and a half hour before bed if possible. And then whenever you get a chance throughout the day, during your lunch break, before you start your lunch, just take a minute or two just to straighten the back, relax the body, and learn how to breathe diaphragmically with your eyes closed. And if you can keep this up, the exercise, the meditation, and try to pack healthy meals in your day the night before, so when you wake up you could just grab it from the fridge or your counter and just go out the door. Now you're less tempted to eat bad because, number one, the food is free because it came from your house. Number two, the food you're eating is healthy, so you don't feel guilt eating it. And, and you're full, so you don't have less of a chance to eat bad. But meditation is so important because the world is stressed. We've got all this war going on and all this, lack of jobs. People need to have a spiritual foundation to build up their trust within themselves and their love for themselves and and everybody around them. If we can kind of develop that to a much higher degree than we are doing now, I guarantee you, we can eliminate war from the planet. If every 8-year-old in the world, I think it was the quote from the Dalai Lama, if every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we can eliminate war within one generation. Can you imagine that? Not only war with other countries, but war within ourselves. There's so many times we go out in the day or throughout our lives, we don't take chances, we don't try to achieve our dreams because we don't think we're worthy, we don't think we'll win, we're afraid of failure. You should be actually more afraid of not trying, because at the end of your life, when you're in your deathbed looking back, is there any worse feeling than knowing that your time is almost done and you didn't do what you came here to do? We really need to think about these things. Many of us are young and we take our lives and our age for granted. It goes quick, in an eye blink. So I think it's best if people start to integrate quality of living into their lives, which includes nutrition, exercise, and meditation as a foundation. Martial arts is great. Yoga is great. I do yoga, meditation. I also I juice every day with a juicer. A juicer is incredible. If you get a nice masticating juicer like the Omega, I think there's a Champion. It's called the Champion. Those are good ones. And ones that move very slow, because when you get the fast spinning ones, it creates heat and it kills some of the nutrients and oxidizes some of the juice. So, that is my goal. That is my goal, is to encourage people to empower themselves. And once they are self-empowered, they are less likely to do things that will compromise their best interests in the end. They will do things that will make themselves happy. They will empower others to make themselves happier. They will become more independent. They will teach others how to find that strength within themselves. I hope you enjoyed hearing this as much as I enjoyed explaining it. And my name is Lenny Revell, and you can look me up online, LennyRevell.com, LennyRevell.com. I'm on Facebook. You can add me if you have a Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Same thing, put my name in. It's there. And Reverb Nation, reverbnation.com/LennyRevell music. So, that's it. Have a good day.